Blockbuster plans on closing about 22% of its current buildings in order to cut costs and remain competitive with Redbox and Netflix. Another cost-cutting activity they are doing is moving some stores from bigger buildings to smaller buildings to save on utilities and rent and stuff like that. So do you guys think this will save the company?
Save it? It will help it because they are dying right now. In 2004, their stock price was about $20, and right now is around 34 cents. It is dying, and they have to make changes to help survive in this because Redbox and Netflix are two completely different mediums, and no one's going into the movie store anymore to just rent a movie when they can stop off at their grocery store after buying groceries.
Well, it's an expensive movie.
Yeah, it is.
It's not just a movie. It's like $3.30 or something like that. So if they can get their prices down, which I assume they will without all that overhead, I mean, if they could get it, if their goal should be to get it below Redbox, because I think
below $1.
Yeah, that should be the goal, is what I'm saying. I'm not saying that it's possible because I'm not in the movie rental junket, but I just don't think that because Redbox has already created such a good brand at being that kiosk thing that Blockbuster's going to have to make a real dent.
Well, Blockbuster has a plan is kind of a hybrid of both Netflix, the brick and mortar model that they use now, and then the kiosk because they have it's Blockbuster Total Access because you can order it online and get it shipped to you, or you can go to the store and pick it up, or go to a kiosk.
Yeah, they've been doing that for quite a long time.
So that's going to be competitive. I think that's the way they're trying to move. But honestly, I think the entire idea of any kind of medium, like any kind of like entertainment medium, like video games or movies or TV shows like that are going to be sold, I think a brick and mortar store is done for. I mean, online.
Yeah, I really think
Blockbuster has to move to online streaming and it maybe charge for each however much you watch.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's the way to do it. What do you think they need to make their new tactic a success?
It's
online streaming.
Yeah, okay.
Lower the price and online streaming.
Do you think that they're too far behind Redbox and that Redbox is just going to take over?
No, I don't. I think they can catch up because Redbox they're out there, but if they get those kiosks out there, Blockbuster still has a recognizable name.
Yes, Blockbuster has a following, and Blockbuster has a little bit, it's known for quality, because that's why they've been able to stay open this long, because you can't charge that much for a movie unless you're providing decent quality and good variety, because that is one thing that I'll give them is whenever I want kind of a quasi-obscure movie, it's just not one of the big money makers that Hollywood creates. It's just a movie with a good story. So I usually might have to go. I mean, I have Netflix, so I don't use that. I don't use Blockbuster anymore, but I would have gone to Blockbuster.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, the thing with Redbox that's going to kill them is that they don't have the selection that Blockbuster has. So, and Netflix is just people don't want to wait the 2 or 3 days it takes to get the movie shipped to them.
Exactly.
So I think Blockbuster, if they take these moves, they can remain competitive. It'll be interesting to watch.
All right, now here's the answer to Know Your Nation question. And to repeat, the question is, how many House Republicans voted against the war in Iraq? Do you guys want to take a stab at it?
It's like 7.
Very close. It's 6. Representatives from Iowa and Texas and Maryland, just all across the country.
Who from Iowa voted against?
Leach.
Okay.
It's Duncan from Tennessee. What is that? Hostetler? Was it Indiana?
Indiana.
Houghton
from New York, Leach from Iowa, Morella from Maryland, and Ron Paul from Texas.
Oh, Ron Paul.
It's good to see him.
All right, for our next story. In Maryland, there was a funeral service for a fallen soldier. Church members from the Westboro Baptist Church flew up to protest the funeral. They were protesting gays in the military, but there have never been any allegations that this particular soldier was gay. The church was protesting a funeral for an unrelated topic, and the church was sued for defamation, and infliction of emotional distress, intrusion, and publication of private facts. So, what do you guys think? Should these protesters be allowed to protest an unrelated funeral?
No, well, I believe that they have the right to assemble and they have the right to go there and protest, but they do not have the right to be slanderous. I mean, they're changing this soldier's image and they're publicly ruining him, and that is illegal. They cannot do that. So I don't disagree with their ability to protest, as sickening as what they do is to me, but they just can't say the things that they're saying.
Yeah, no, I agree entirely. You pretty much just said my opinion word for word.
I don't think they should be able to protest on an unrelated topic at this venue. I think this might be one venue that should be protected.
Okay, let me clarify this for you for 1 second. I'm sorry, that sounded really rude. I don't mean it that way, Ryan. I'm sorry.
Let me just
tell you why you're wrong.
Yeah, let me explain what you don't know.
The Westboro Baptist Church believes that soldiers and America is dying because we allow homosexuality, not necessarily in the military. So they go to almost every funeral of a soldier and say that because there are gays in America, our soldiers are dying. So it's not necessarily unrelated, but it's a very far stretch. And I mean, as long as they can make it related, I think they should still have the right to protest and assemble. But I mean, that's their constitutional right. It really is.
I just hate it. I hate it so much.
Right.
But they have every right to say something as long as it's not malicious, false, or defamatory statement, which it
was
is.
malicious.
Because they can't. They can't. I just don't think they can specifically say that. They can go and protest and say that they don't want gays in the military, but they can't go and say this guy was gay, and they can't do that. Try and somehow spin the fact that he's homosexual into being something that's bad, and then that he was punished for that, and they've just completely spun it.
Well, Fred Phelps, the founder of this church, actually has a law background. So he didn't actually say that soldier particularly was gay. The sign said something along the lines of
certainly suggestive.
Yeah, it was very suggestive, but they didn't outright say it. So he'll use that, and I honestly,
he's been doing it for years.
Yeah, he's made a bunch of money off lawsuits by doing that. I mean, he goes all over the place and does this kind of crazy kooky crap.
All right. We'll go on. It's another protected free speech story. The courts have decided that cyberbullying is not protected free speech. A 15-year-old posted a video of himself singing and dancing to pursue a career in the arts. Fellow students posted responses to the video that were very, very derogatory and threatened bodily harm to him. They even said they were going to try to kill him. Originally founded as protected free speech, the appeals court ruled against this and said it was a hate crime. So do you guys agree with appeals court saying that this was a hate crime and should not be protected free speech?
I don't think it's hate crime, but it's words that are meant to start a fight, and that's explicitly outlined in the First Amendment that that you cannot use those words. Yeah.
So what does this mean for the First Amendment rights of internet users? Just the same for anyone?
Well, you just can't threaten people.
Yeah.
You can't be on there and you can't say, I'm going to kill you when... you just cannot say that because that is a threat and that's technically illegal.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just not protected speech.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Now our quote for the day, or for the week, excuse me, quote of the week is when people, let me correctly read this. Okay. When people have problems, they don't go to the government. They don't go to the police. They go to the Taliban, and the Taliban decides. There are no files and no paperwork. This was said by Moeen Marastial, a member of parliament in the Kunduz province, telling a reporter about the resurgence of the Taliban in northern Afghanistan. So a little quote of the week to raise your awareness.